I just wanted to go over the Allie Noble section of the FOIA. That's where we left off last time. Hold on, because for some reason okay, here we go. It was after the Dan Glidewell section. And I just wanted to bring up Allie because you guys know Allie was the girlfriend of Nick, the ex-girlfriend of Nick. So I just wanted to go through that. I feel like this is my college lecture class I actually like. There you go. There you go. I actually do give lectures at the college. And it's so funny because I'm like, I try to keep them. I remember being in nursing school and having to listen to it. And so I'm always trying to crack jokes to keep people's attention going. It's like, that used to suck. But here we go. All right, so Allie Noble. Allie Noble was identified as at trial as a person Nicholas communicated with via Facebook. Messages between her and Nicholas were introduced and published to the jury as State's Exhibit 147. Counsel was ineffective for failing to investigate and call Allie Noble to testify at trial. Had Miss Noble been called, she would have testified regarding conversations, including conversations on social media messaging with Nicholas GODEJOHN and Gypsy Blanchard. Wait, hold on. With Nicholas GODEJOHN and Gypsy Blanchard. Counsel's failure to investigate and call Allie Noble as a GODEJOHN and Gypsy Blanchard. Counsel's failure to investigate and call Allie Noble as a to GODEJOHN. Counsel was ineffective for failing to cross-examine and investigate and present the above evidence and witnesses to the jury at trial to support a theory of defense and contradict the state's theory. Nicholas was prejudiced in that the jury did not hear this evidence, and it allowed the state to argue in closing, unrebutted, that Gypsy did not manipulate Nicholas into killing her mother. Further, the state was able to argue to the jury without any contrary evidence being presented by the defense that Gypsy was the submissive partner of the relationship, and that Nicholas was the dominant one who was in charge, and that Nicholas's motivation to commit the crime was based on a desire to have Gypsy as a sensual slave. There is a reasonable likelihood that had counsel presented the evidence and testimony from the above witnesses, that the outcome of the trial would have been different in that Mr. GODEJOHN would not have been convicted of murder in the first degree and armed criminal action and sentenced to life without parole and 25 years. Counsel's ineffectiveness resulted in prejudice to Nicholas GODEJOHN, and a new trial should be ordered. So that was just her section. That's just showing that they could have called her and she would have presented evidence that he was not necessarily the dominant.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then it goes into he was denied counsel again. Yes. Yeah. His original attorney was not diligent or competent for not doing so. Blase, it's all the same thing. And then it goes to Dr. Ken. Oh, thank you, JD. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Glass Knuckles. Thank you. Thank you. What is wrong with you? Leave her alone. And then there's that. You gotta love them. That's so funny. In an unalive case, anyone should be able to get a plea before proper investigation. So it's not so much the police department originally they were upset. The detectives that investigated did not want her. They didn't think she deserved the plea deal. And so, yeah, they were mad. They did not like it. Let me know when you're ready, Nina. I am being respectful. Leave this girl alone and stop harassing him. I'm also being respectful and no. So there's that. Um, I want to show you guys something. I'm going to probably have to show you my computer screen. You look like Dee. Well, thank you. Dee was actually a beautiful woman, so there's that also. All right, so tell me when you want me to start, Nina. Right, JD, it's not harassment. Exactly, Liza. Our youth is on TikTok watching her. Thank you, Justin, thank you. Are we lagging? Can you all hear me? Okay. Nina, are you there? Do you want me to go through our people? So, hello, Pamela. Sounds like I'm in a tunnel? Or is it just my... I look so good in orange? Thank you. Well, now I need to wear more orange. I do sound like I'm in a tunnel? I didn't mute her this time. Nina, I didn't mute you. You might be getting her kids off. Thank you, Hollow Mom. Thank you. Mute, then unmute. Okay, hold on. Is that better? Can y'all hear me now? Okay, no more tunnel. She's just getting her kids inside, so let's let her get a minute and get settled, and then we'll go into it. Oh my goodness, these allergies. Can you hear me now? I know. Remember that? All right, good. So it's wild to think of how far this whole thing. Now, I want you guys to remember something. Nicholas GODEJOHN'S trial started in, Pam, correct me if I'm wrong, but, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Started in November of 2018, I believe. It was in 2018, I believe it was November. What will happen to Jip if Nick gets a new trial? I don't know. It all depends on what happens. Now, you all know that Dan Patterson was the district attorney for the case, right? Or the prosecutor. You shouldn't back someone without all sides of the story. Absolutely. You can't defend her unless you hear both sides of the story. I just want to put that out there for people. You know, in order to be able to defend her, you have to listen to their side as well as ours. Just like I tell people on this side, they also have to. Thank you, Joshua, for following. Hello, Joe Petrie, who's not related to the Petries. Hey, Nisi. Thank you, Jill. Won't Jip have to go back to trial too? Jip never had a trial. So no, she wouldn't. Hello, Paradise. So no, she wouldn't have to go back. My sunglasses, so I drive during the sun, I can't see, and so I keep them on me so I always have them and I don't forget them and I forget to take them off. So I think Nick 4 to 5 jabs and then she finished the job. I do believe she got her jabs in. Now, you guys know Dan Patterson, you know who he was. You know that Mike Stanfield was Gypsy's lawyer. He was a public defender for 17 years, and he got him as a public defender. He could be called to testify, yes. He could be subpoenaed to testify if he got a new trial. I don't know that he would get a new trial, but if he did, yes, she could be subpoenaed to testify. He is now her manager. Mike Stanfield is now Gypsy Rose's manager. I met him. No, be happy. Her lawyer has no shame. None.
Okay. Sorry, y'all.
Where you are.
All right, y'all. I broke a nail, and like my actual real nail came off a little bit. Yeah, so I'm trying to. So I went to get acrylic to put it on, but I couldn't find my brush to like fix it. So.
Do you guys hear an echo from me? Do you hear an echo?
Is that better?
Hello?
Is that better?
I don't hear an echo. They're saying they hear an echo.
I do hear one from you a little bit.
You do?
I thought it was me though, but I guess it's me. Hey, thank you for the gifts, everyone. I appreciate them.
It's hot here in Virginia, let me tell you.
There's a weird noise though. I do hear something weird. I don't know what it is. Do you not hear it?
My air conditioner going, but listen, it's hot here.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's what you're hearing.
That might be it. It's not a big deal for me, but
Nobody's snoring unless Moo. Where's Moo? No, Moo's awake. I don't hear anybody snoring. Thank you, Pen. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
okay. So what did you just read? The part with Allie?
Allie, and then I was just talking to them about Dan Patterson. I want to make sure everyone knows who Dan Patterson is and who Mike Stanfield is. So yeah. Sounds good on your end. Thank you, Alyssa. So, do you want me to go into the whole Greene Family Justice Center? Okay. So, you guys, it was what, November of 2018, I believe, that Nicholas had his trial. His trial started. Let me get the exact date for you. Hold on, I want to make sure I have this date down. So, you know that Dan Patterson has the organization he started, right? The Greene County Family Justice Center, right? And he opened that the month before Nick's trial started. Thank you, Lily Rose. And that was October of 2018. Now, in order to get an organization like that started, that takes years. It takes permission. It takes funding. It takes a whole lot of work. A whole lot goes into starting an organization like the Greene County Family Justice Center. And let me tell you what it is, if I can click this button. The Greene County Center is a multi-agency, multidisciplinary service center that provides located services to victims of interpersonal violence, including intimate partner violence, SA, child abuse, elder or dependent adult abuse, and human trafficking. Both public and private partner agencies assign staff on a full-time or part-time basis to provide victim services in one safe place. Centers focus on reducing the number of times victims tell their story, the number of places victims must go for help, and look to increase access to services and support for victims and their children. Partner agencies at the Family Justice Center and multi-agency centers may be may be comprised of but are not limited to community-based rape crisis, domestic violence, and human trafficking advocates, law enforcement personnel, prosecuting attorneys, victim witness program personnel, domestic violence shelter service staff, social service agency staff members, child welfare agency social workers, city or county public assistance workers, mental health professionals, and civil legal service providers. So Dan Patterson started this organization, okay, in October of 2018, 1 month before Nick went to trial, okay? But I want to show you who his board of directors is for this organization. Have you guys ever looked into this organization?
I want to see what they got to say.
You're saying I sound like I'm underwater?
It does, but I don't think that's your AC.
Hold on. It may not be. My AC is not that loud. Hold on.
It's definitely her.
Is that better? Is that better? You want me to restart and come back?
Yeah. Like we could hear her, but it sounds like a, ooh, what is this? Y'all, this is a glue. Oh, you guys want to see my wall? I've been working on my wall all day. Let me show you guys this. How do I take this off? Okay. Wait, how do I take this off? So remember it was pink like that? I've been putting these panels on there all day. So this is the adhesive all on my hands. So it's actually really, really cute. It's super cute. Wait, let's see if Ivy's back. Okay. Yeah, y'all, my room smells because of it.
Can you still hear the?
No, it's better. Way better.
Yeah, because I mean my AC is not that loud.
No, it's not. It does sound like someone's snoring, but it's fine. We'll survive.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm sweating. I won't survive. So.
Make my room the background.
Oh, that's pretty.
Let me cut this light off.
Yeah, it's probably it's so damn hot. And,
I don't think it's your AC, but it's fine. Whatever it is, it's fine.
My phone. We're gonna act like Ivory didn't drop her phone in the toilet last night.
Oh, that.
But my phone, but my toilet's clean. It was clean. I was just reaching over and it fell.
Oh, nothing. Oh, good thing your phone wasn't in a shitty situation.
Right? No, yes. Like I would go. I'd left it there. I'd have flushed it. I just went and got a new one.
Not you would have flushed it, girl.
Yeah. Luckily, my toilet was clean. I made sure it was
Okay. So, y'all, this is about to get.
All right. Let's get to tapping. All right. So the board of directors of his Greene County Family Justice Center. All right. I want you to tell me if any of these names sound familiar to you. I will tell you who they are and who they're affiliated with. All right. You got Dan Patterson is the chair of this organization. He's the Greene County prosecuting attorney, right? You have Paul Williams as the vice chair. He is Springfield Police Department. You have Lisa Farmer is the secretary of this board, and she works with Harmony House. You have Sharon Alexander, who is the treasurer, who works with Legal Services of Southern Missouri. You have Brandy Bartell, who works with the victim center who does not work with them anymore. And that is a whole different rabbit hole on why Brandy Bartell decided that she was going to leave them and stay at home with her 5-year-old who's in kindergarten. Just saying. Then you have Jim Arnett sits on the board, Greene County Sheriff's Office. You have Janet Dankert, Community Partnership of the Ozarks. You have Linda Saturno, Child Advocacy Center. And you have Lori Wanamaker, Community Volunteer. So I think it's so funny that all of these people sit on the board of Dan Patterson's organization. They all know each other. You have Jim Arnett, the sheriff. You have...
Naisha's back?
Who?
Are you sure? Or are you just telling me that? Where's my iPad? Hold on.
Who's back?
Oh, Naisha.
She's really little. Thank you, Lisa.
Lonnie?
Who's back?
Melania.
Hey, Tina.
Lonnie! Where's my iPad? Where? Oh, never mind. I found it.
And here's Moo.
Okay. Oh, Naisha's the girl that went missing in Dubai.
Oh, they found her? I thought she was...
Somebody just said, like, she's back, but I don't know what. Let me see.
Y'all, I was sitting here thinking about it. I giggled.
I'm sorry. Oh.
Where was she? I need to know.
Oh, she's home. Oh, she look good now. Oh, what?
Where was she?
So she was in Dubai, but I don't
Remember
know.
being Dubai? Moo, come
They
on.
had her custody. I don't know. Oh my goodness, she looks amazing. And she revealed that she's married. I heard she was married in the US already, but I don't know if that's true or not. But I'll do my investigation later.
Oh, wow. I know. Come on, Moo.
That's crazy. Okay, so go ahead.
So
Sorry.
everybody who's on this board of this organization all know each other and all work together with the trial and the investigation of Gypsy and her mother. Now, I want you to remember something, and I'm not making accusations, I'm not saying anything. I'm just going to bring something to your attention. Now, all of these people, all of the organizations that these people who sit on this board work for, all were involved in Gypsy and Dee Dee's thing, right? Now remember, Gypsy and Dee Dee were being investigated for fraud, right? Now, when you investigate for fraud in 2015, 2014, if you're being investigated into fraud, the companies that that were involved in the fraud, even though they didn't really do anything, they have to, is my mic covered? It's not. I have my charger in. But the companies that, or these organizations, all have to be looked into for the fraud. See, the problem is all of these people and their organizations, if they were looked into for the fraud, it would look bad on Dan Patterson trying to open up this community center, this community organization. And so for Dan Patterson it was really important for him and all of these people. Thank you, Jan Ram. Thank you, Simisi. It was really important for all of these people not to be investigated for fraud, because even though they may not have had anything to do with it, when you are starting an organization like this, you have to go out to politicians. You got to be backed. It takes money. It takes donations. It takes all of that. And he needs donations from all these people, right? He needs the backing of all of his friends. Now, if they went through with this investigation, they would have to investigate a lot of these organizations that are affiliated with Dan Patterson and his organization.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just putting that out there, that it was really important, I'm sure, for Dan Patterson not to have anything to do with that fraud investigation with Gypsy and Greene. That needed to be swept underneath the rug, because then all of the organizations that were backing him for his, I feel like would be investigated, and it would look bad to other people who are going to donate their money and their name and their title to backing this Greene County Family Justice Center. So, if they would have kept Gypsy on trial and she was being investigated for the murder of her mother, what other investigation would have continued?
Mm-hmm.
The fraud investigation would have continued, I believe. And if that fraud investigation continued, then all of the organizations would have that backed him would have been
Investigated too.
An investigation opened up for these places. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. Then you have Jim Arnett, the sheriff, who was completely against them and then all of a sudden wasn't. You have Paul Williams from the Springfield Police Department. You have Lisa Farmer from the Secretary of Harmony House. Do y'all remember what Harmony House is? Harmony House is a domestic violence shelter, but they will take people in, like after a hurricane, when they don't have anywhere to go. So all of these people just happen to be friends. It's like a bunch of good old boys that are very well known in the area. They are a big group of friends that all sit on the boards of the same justice center that Dan Patterson backed and opened. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. And that in order for this thing to open, they needed money, they needed backing, they needed political backing, all of it. They needed all of that, and they could not have investigations into fraud into these companies that were trying to back him. And so I think
And then some money had went missing, and
Yeah.
then it seems like, well, someone had some tax issues, like more than one person, and then some money went missing, and then their taxes were paid off.
So I just need everyone to understand that while
Allegedly.
between the investigation and Nick's trial and all of that, he was opening this organization. And his friends ended up on the board. So I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there. No allegations, accusations. Look into that. I'm just saying you can go down a rabbit hole. This cat. So yeah, there's a whole rabbit hole there. And then you have to look at who these people are. This same group of people pretty much runs this little town. Okay, do I believe that somebody may have a sheriff in their pocket? Yeah. I think somewhere in a small little town in the middle of the country, okay, that there is somebody who is an elected official who has a sheriff in their pocket. Just saying. So yeah. I don't know what. I think it's because Nina muted. Moo. So everybody knows everybody. And yeah. So look into their board of directors and look into who each of these people are. Oh, look into their spouses, guys. It's wild. Jill Patterson is Dan Patterson's wife. That woman is extremely powerful. She used to be in the prosecutor's office, and now she works for a different town or a different county. So she's in a different county right now. She's also, wasn't she elected to the Board of Education? Or she ran for the Board of Education? All of these people are in a little bit of everything. I'm just saying. When you look into Linda Saturno from the Child Advocacy Center, watch out. Watch out. Brandy Bartell no longer is working with the victim center, and I think that's a little wild. Usually when you want to spend more time with your child, you do it when they're babies, not when they're in school. And so for her reasoning to be that she left because she wanted to spend more time with her son at 5 seems a little weird. But if you go into her LinkedIn and look at her posts, guys, that's quite interesting. I need to be, you know, you want to be careful on what you say here because it's like, yeah. So these are a bunch of good old boys and gals. They are a group of friends. It's not what you know, it's who you know. I do not believe, now, I believe Stanfield just happened to get elected and walk into it. I really do. So,
But are they really good?
no. No.
So I think it's deeper than even just Nick getting caught up.
Yeah.
It is a situation where the odds were stacked against him, allegedly, intentionally.
Yeah, I really do.
It's why the things look the way they do, because, and it doesn't make sense, because everything was kind of tied together.
Yeah. I really do. I really do believe that they could not have that investigation into the fraud going anywhere. I really do believe that.
And they all allegedly went to like the same schools, which was really weird to see, like the way they were all affiliated through like their schools. And allegedly, Dan Patterson is part of a fraternity. So, you know, that kind of makes sense too.
Yeah.
As to why.
Yeah. If you go and you look at their bios too.
Good thing you sound muffled.
You could. I sound muffled again?
No, you're better now.
Okay. I think that there's no way that that investigation into fraud could have continued.
You're going in and out muffled. Is there something by your mouthpiece?
How's that? Is that better?
Yes. Uh-huh.
All right. So my light was covering the whole, I think. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
now I'm going to try and see the, but yeah, there's no way that they could have let this investigation into the fraud happen. I think that, that played a big part in it. I think that now, while I believe that Stanfield was really trying, let's be real, is he the best attorney in the world? No. Is he even close to Dan Patterson level? Not even close. Okay, so do I think that he was the one who was the mastermind behind the whole thing? Hell no.
No.
No. Do I believe that Dan Patterson was the mastermind behind it all? I absolutely do. Then if you look at these people and the judges and their connection, that is also wrong. with the schools that they went to, with the
He's
people that
doing it again. You're going in and out.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know why it's going in and out.
I can hear you now.
Let me see. Is that better? Both of us mute.
How could she follow you? It's saying your privacy settings.
Huh?
They're saying, how could they follow you? It's saying your privacy settings.
What's wrong with my privacy settings?
I don't know.
You should be able to follow me. I'm completely public. Can you guys hear me better?
Yeah, I can.
I had my charger and I wonder if that was blocking a hole. I don't know. Oh, I got a new case.
Ivy, we sick of you.
Does it sound like a CPAP?
It does sound like a CPAP. Yes, it does.
Okay, hold on. I think it's the case. That I can't get off this damn thing. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, I can't. Let me see. Good?
Yes. That's
All right, it's the
crazy.
case.
That's nuts that it was the case.
It was the case the whole time. There's my voice. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with my phone?
And if you would have heard it, you would have laughed. Like it sounded like you had a really, really obese man sleeping in the background.
Oh, geez. Was I talking like that all day?
No, I just know right now.
It's an honor.
I was like, damn.
So can I put my light back on so I can see the
I think you can.
questions? Because, yeah, that's better.
Somebody called you a
We
boomer.
know it's not the toilet water. It's not the toilet water. But yeah, I think that this whole group of people was definitely all in on this could not go to trial for Gypsy. And I think Dan Patterson needed not to go to trial for more reasons than one. And, you know, I've heard people say that the fraud was thrown into her plea deal. I'm not so sure. I've never seen. I don't know. But I feel like we need to make that all go away.
Which makes sense as to why the investigator were upset. But also, the head of the sheriff's department has a lot of affiliations too. So there's like a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's wild. It is so wild who these people know, what they know. They all working on this organization. The amount of
All
organization
sit on chairs
sit
too.
on these boards is wild.
Hey.
Absolutely wild. And it shouts, I don't even want to say it. It just shouts messy.
And that's why he couldn't get a fair trial. It was
That word, Nisi.
possible for him to get a fair trial because it was set up for him to fail.
Yeah, there was no way. There was no way that he can get a fair trial. There just was no way. They couldn't allow Gypsy to have a trial. And in order for Gypsy not to have a trial, they needed to give her a plea deal, make her look good, and they needed to make Nick look horrible.
And a plea deal that she was willing to accept. So basically, really, when you think about it, the ball was really in her court because they needed her to take a plea deal.
Hold on, I'm looking something up.
So he really had the odds stacked against him in more than just one way. Because at this time, we were all kind of trying to figure out, like, how could this happen? Like, how could, they allow her to get over like this? But somebody had to take the L.
And they literally gave her the least amount of time for that charge. Like, that to me is...
They didn't even give her the mandatory minimum.
Huh?
That wasn't even the mandatory minimum. That was less than the mandatory minimum.
Yeah, that's wild to me. That's absolutely wild to me. I printed something out about... I'm trying to look for it.
Thank you, friend.
I think it's wild that all of these people know each other. All of these people sit on the board. His organization went up. This whole Family Justice Center went up the month before.
And they all had, a lot of them had tax issues.
Gypsy had already taken the plea deal when this organization started, and it went up, and they broke ground and, did the whole thing, and then his trial started. A month later, his trial started. But she was already given her plea deal.
Yep. Like it was
Thank you, Maddie, for following. If you ask me, that's wild.
Yeah, it was a super messy situation. And it kind of, now it makes sense because, we had always been asking, like, how could this happen, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like knowing this now, it just makes a whole lot more sense as to why it was able to happen.
Yep. And they ran with, where did Mike Stanfield get the Munchausen syndrome? When he was originally going to go with battered spouse syndrome.
Right.
And
they would have lost that too.
That was not going to fly. And so he needed a better defense. And I wonder where he got the Munchausen by proxy. Now remember,
Gypsy said that...
Wasn't he doing his interviews, Dan Patterson, talking about Munchausen by proxy too?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I wonder when Stanfield got that one. Yes, Christy was involved. To an extent.
But I will say this, and I might be wrong, but I think at that time, Christy did not know to the extent.
No, I don't think she knew to the extent of what was happening.
Now, yes. But at that time, I don't believe so. Which is why I said I would give Christy a little bit of grace. Because I don't think she knew the whole time.
No, and I don't think she knew. I think Dan Patterson was absolutely behind the whole making it look like Nick and making Gypsy look like a victim.
Right.
I really do believe that. It was Dan Patterson.
And I
Now,
will say this. When you hear that, and if I was Christy, I would be looking at it like, oh, well, if the courts are saying it's this, then it has to be that, because why would they let her get away with something if that wasn't really the case? That's why I said, like, I don't think Christy knew as much. I do think she knows now, but I feel like she's just kind of too far in now.
yeah, she's stuck. Well, you know what I mean? She's stuck. What is she going to do? So yeah, I do. I think that this was just a whole hot mess. There was no way that they could continue on that investigation with fraud. That fraud investigation had to stop. Because if you remember, they all wanted it to continue in the beginning. The sheriff, everybody wanted to investigate and wanted that to happen. And then it just was swept underneath the rug like it was not a big deal.
Mm-hmm. And that's where, remember I was saying, I just wonder if there's any affiliation that they have to Melissa Moore. Or
Right.
like, Now that's the connection that I haven't been able to see, like see anything directly. And you know, it may not be because originally it was HBO that did Mommy, Dad, and Dearest. And so this is the thing, it makes sense as to why they let that um, documentary or movie or film or whatever you want to call it go through, because it would help Dan Patterson, which makes sense as to why he would show up on there. So that's something worth noting, because I feel like, you know, there's questions. It's kind of like, well, why? How would it be okay for the DA to show up on a show 2 days before trial when you're basically taking to trial the co-defendant?
Right.
You know, it's unethical, in my opinion.
Yes, Katie, the more you find out, the more crazy it gets. It's wild.
So it's like such a deep rabbit hole of a lot.
Corruption is a good word.
Deeper than that, but there's a lot of stuff that we can't really say because we don't want to get ourselves into any like legal issues.
Yeah. You just got to take what we just told you and go down that rabbit hole, guys.
Yeah.
Go look at it.
But I would suggest, if you do, I don't know if I would really bring it to social media if I were you all, like for legal purposes.
But just know there's a whole story behind that, yeah.
Like a whole story.
Let me tell you about Melissa Moore. Let me tell you about my feelings on Melissa Moore. First of all, Melissa Moore is another Gypsy Rose. And I think that she gave Gypsy Rose this idea that you can become famous off a crime. And I think that's where ultimately the pressure came from to make her famous. Okay? Melissa Moore's father was the happy face killer. And of course, that's where she gained her notoriety from. From her story about being the daughter of a serial killer. Now, let's be real. I don't know if you guys have all read Melissa Moore's book. Don't pay for it because it's like, yeah. Or watched the documentary, but the allegations that she makes are absolutely wild. I don't know that I believe them. For all of these stories that she tells about her father and what, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not, listen, I ain't sticking up for her father. Her father's like, I mean, he's a serial killer. He killed, what, 8 women?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think that her inserting herself into that situation was more her. I don't believe that her father ever actually inserted her. Usually serial killers, they can live double lives. That's why they get away with it for so long. And that's why they're able to unalive multiple people, is because they're able to play 2 roles. They live 2 lives, right?
Yep.
And sorry, I was just trying to read a question. They're able to live 2 lives. They keep their home life separate. And they're usually amazing dads, amazing husbands, and they overcompensate for their horrible behavior in this second life that they live, right?
Yeah. Trying to just make up for it.
And so I feel like a lot of these stories that she tells in her book and in her show or whatever, I think are just wild. Do I believe that her father was going to admit to her as a child that he was a serial killer and he killed women? Like, no, I don't. I think it's wild. And again, I mean, this woman took her 3 children to the prison to meet
her dad, which is, if you ask me, I think that's kind of psychotic on her end. But
I mean, the man was a serial killer, though. Like, look what he did to those women. And you brought your children. Like, I get telling them about them, like, you know what I mean? But you brought your children to a prison to meet that man, I think is wild to me.
Very.
And it's almost like she needed a story to tell. I'm just saying. And of course she used it. So there's that.
So I think she just basically like after seeing that, and I've watched like a couple of videos on her. Indigo did one that I think is really good, and you know that's the body language expert. And I would say to watch it because um, it brings a lot of things to light that I feel like you generally wouldn't really think. But one thing that I think is very interesting about her is that this is just my opinion again. I think the reason why she builds her career off of like being known for her dad's unalivings is because I think she's just as crazy as he is.
I agree.
And I think it just stops her from actually doing stuff like that.
And if you read her book, I feel like her sexual undertone is the same, or overtone is almost the same as Gypsy's.
Mm-hmm.
I think is extremely telling.
Which is why I think because remember we were all saying like, how could she co-sign on this book that Gypsy did, right?
Right.
Well, now it kind of makes sense because how could she not, considering?
Right. Yeah, it's just
But
wild.
I've always said that I felt like her eyes look not like Gypsy's, but like they look like almost see-through.
That woman,
Like
she
very cold ice.
did as Gypsy Rose is. She used the fact that 8 women died at the hands of her father for clout and for a story, to write a book, to have a show, to do all of this stuff. And I think, again, making money off of your father's crime is just as bad as making money off your own. I'm just saying.
Especially when you
Father
think
killed 8
about
women.
the fact that, yeah, not only did he kill them, he raped them too. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I feel like as a woman, that is not something that I would be okay with. And when they were asking her about it in the interview that Indigo went over, she seemed to not really have an issue with it. And that was kind of disturbing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Because
told
why would you not like have a issue with the fact that, you know, your dad committed this really heinous
crime.
Like it's really crazy when you think about it. And yeah, she had no empathy or sympathy for the victims or the victims' families. And I do think she was trying to kind of like reach out to the victims or something at some point, allegedly. I'm not sure. But that kind of made it interesting too, because you look at it and you're like, why would you want to do that? And so it seems like victims and perpetrators, anyone like that she could identify with, I guess, to an extent.
Yeah.
It's just odd. It's very odd to me.
I feel like that she plays victim to her father's story. She makes money off of the victim role because, again, she was a victim, just like, you know what I mean? Like, and then she saw Gypsy's ability to make money with a victim narrative, and she ran with that because she knows about it. You stay where you're familiar. You tend to go where you know, like with what you know.
And remember,
to play victim with a false story.
I don't know if you remember this, but initially Melissa Moore was trying to interview Gypsy, and Gypsy would not agree to the interview.
She wanted to talk about men.
Yeah, and so she was like, "Oh, you know, I think she said she wanted to just come see her or something." And when you think about that, just think about how she not only inserted herself, almost like kind of forced herself into Gypsy's life. I think that that's very interesting.
Yeah. Feel like he's using her breast hostage to further traumatize his victims. Absolutely possible. I just think, I don't know. It's something about Melissa Moore rubbed me the wrong way. I don't like the way she profited and made an entire life off of her father's crime of doing what he did to women. I don't think that she is, I think she's a liar. I think a lot of the content in her book was also lies and exaggerated, especially for her. Like, you believe that she's driving down the road in a car with her father as a child, and her father was going to admit to her that he was a serial killer. Like, my father was going to tell me right then
Yeah,
and
for
there.
your kid to tell on you, like if the police came, like that's just not something.
If I tell you you're going to tell the police, he never said that because they separate their two lives. They separate their lives. And so, like, again, her stories, you making up this victim, this narrative, just to make money off of the fact that your father did the heinous shit that he did. And then you went and you saw Gypsy. And again, we go where we're comfortable. We go where situations are similar. We know what we know. And she knew Gypsy Rose's story was not real. But you know what? Let's ride this out. Let's make you a victim like I was a victim. I can do that because, well,
Yep.
I did it for myself. Let me show you. And that's what happened. And
Yep.
I think it's,
And I
I
think
really think that Gypsy Rose thought she was going to be the next Melissa Moore, making it just as, you know what I mean? Making it just like Melissa Moore did. Like, what, am I going to be an executive producer? Let me, like, honey, you're going to write a book? You know what I
but
mean?
let's be real. I do think at this point, I think Lifetime is fully aware that Gypsy is never going to change and that she is not a good look. And I think they are just here for the crash out. I think we'll see one more season of her because,
I'm definitely going to see a season 3 because she's off parole.
yeah, because they know she's going to be unhinged. They know that she's going to do something to get herself in trouble. And I think that they want to be there for that. And, you know, at this point, I'm sure they're kind of like, well, you know, she's had like seasons with like low ratings. People will watch the crash out. So we kind of want to be here for this crash out. And that's just my opinion when it comes to that. Because it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like for them to want, I mean, they were definitely going to do something to make sure they make their money back. And that makes the most sense.
Mm. Yeah, I agree.
You know, so when you think about it, you're like, well,
That's where the
how,
money is, the trash and the crash out and the, you know what I mean? All of that. Her possibly doing something to, you know, ruin her freedom again. Like, I definitely think that that's why they're
which I
watching.
think is the inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she can't, put it this way, if Gypsy's on parole and she's basically crashing out the way she is, like in people's comment sections, like losing her marbles and stuff like that. Think about her being off of parole. It's only going to be worse. Like there's no way that that could be better
Yeah. I agree.
because she's kind of already showed her ass when you really think about it already. So it's like, why would she not do that later on? They're going to be definitely there to see that.
Yeah.
Because I do think they thought that her seasons were going to be better than what they were. And so now they're like, well, we're going to have to kind of ride out the wave because this crash out has been so crazy.
Yeah.
So we're just going to have to be here to kind of like watch her really lose it.
That's exactly it. Nothing happened this season because, well, let's be real. Like, she already lived 3 lifetimes in the first season. All right. She got married, got divorced, came out of prison, had a whole adulterous affair, got knocked up during the affair, went and shouted to the world, I had an affair. You know what I mean? Like, she did all of that in the first season. I don't know that she left anything to be talked about this season, but I agree with you that next season there will be a 3rd season, in my opinion. And I do believe she starts filming in June, from what I heard. I don't know if that's fact, but I do believe that because that's when she gets off parole.
And I mean, it makes sense as to why they don't have anything to record of her now.
Yeah.
And if you think about it too, they're slowly making her look bad. Because for them to put that video up of her saying, "You'd have to be crazy not to take me back," after them showing how
It made her look so
it just
bad.
made her look manipulative. It made her look like exactly the person that she is, which really needed to be shown all this time anyway. But the fact that they actually openly put that out there. And what I think was funny is you notice that on her live, Gypsy was like, "Oh, I proved my point, blah, blah, blah." You didn't prove anything.
Who's point to who?
Yeah, I was like, this girl's really crazy.
Oh, I
Like,
think it's
all you proved was you were a
loose woman. Isn't that what she said? I'm quoting Gypsy Rose, by the way.
Yeah, that's all she proved, really.
I think it's funny that thank you, Tracy. Thank you. I think it's funny that she proved, or that when she got the results, not her and Bree posted them without Ken.
That was another thing.
Aggra-freaking-vated, man. He looks so mad.
And then she did the same thing with the baby last week and had the baby's face shown when I think Ken was very adamant about not really wanting her shown, which I will say, I feel like Ken seemed like he was trying to do the right thing by his kid.
I
And he
think
seemed to like take on being a parent. But then again, I don't know because I'm not there.
I think that Ken knows that they all look trashy, okay? He knows that she looks trashy. He's trying to stop the trashiness, and Gypsy Rose is trash and just can't stop. But I think he's starting to become embarrassed. I mean, look at that book. Never commented on it. You're so proud your wife is an author, and you never commented on this great book that she wrote for your daughter? Well, because he's embarrassed. Same thing with the whole, I'm going to announce online that you're the baby daddy, even though I'm married to Ryan. Like, I think he was embarrassed.
Like, yeah, like who's so proud of just admitting, like, I got pregnant by my side dude? Like,
I have never seen that in my entire life, ever.
No, I've never. In fact, most people try to hide that type of stuff. She has like no shame at all.
Who got knocked up? Who cheated? Not me. No, I would have. Are you kidding me? No. He's been silent. He's only allowed to say what she allows him to say. He can't have his opinion. You know that the way he acts, unlike when he's doing those podcasts like Vile Files and all of those, she watches him the same way she did to Dee Dee. Don't say anything. Be careful what you say. She did the same thing to Ryan. Let me squeeze your hand. Let me tell you to shut up. No, don't say that. Whispering out of her mouth. Like, she controls everything, and I think he's just about had it. And this season, he's letting it roll. Not him talking about my grandma's dress with that purple dress that she wore to the college speaking engagement. Yeah. I mean, you literally sat there and we were all bullies, but he said the same thing to you that we all said. Make sense.
And then they were talking crap, saying like we were, and it's like, no, he literally said everything that we said. So how is it? I mean, come on, she did have a Barney dress on.
Yeah. That was the same thing with the whole, don't say that I lose weight, I don't eat. You can't say that, you're going to start rumors, like controlling what everybody says. Can you imagine what it was? First of all, it's supposed to be a reality show. It's supposed to be your everyday to day life. Let's be real, you two look so massively uncomfortable. Ken looks like, oh my God, if I say anything she doesn't want me to, or if I say it with the wrong tone, she's going to stab me tonight while we're in bed. Like, let's be real. He's terrified because he's like, oh, I can't say that. Oh, I can't say that. Let me just hug her and squeeze her ass, even though I don't want to because I told her I didn't like that. Like, it's like he doesn't know what to do or how to react because everything is about Gypsy's control, and here you are trying to catch him with a hairbrush.
Literally.
Just wild. She's making him look like crap, just like she did to Ryan.
Yep.
He's over it. He looks like I'm 5 seconds away from calling you out.
Like he do look like he ready to just go on and tell.
Yeah. Like, why are you making something out of nothing? Or what was it? What did he say with the hairbrush ordeal?
Oh
He was like,
yeah.
I don't know why you're trying to make up the story that doesn't exist. Because, dude, that's all she does is make up stories that don't exist. You're all living off the stories that she made up that don't really exist. Are you for real right now? Did you say that?
Literally.
Did you actually ask that? And you don't know?
Flash.
You're living off her ability to do that.
She
And
is
now,
quite the storyteller.
and now she's turning it right on him and he doesn't like it.
Yeah, because look, let's be honest. Ken is low key a asshole, right? But at the same time, if I was with Gypsy, I would be a asshole too. So I kind of get it, but I feel like he makes it too easy for people to have something to say about him being like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like she would use that to her advantage when things really do like air out. She will use that to her advantage because she villainizes everybody, and that's the part where I feel like he's missing it. And what's crazy is that she villainized him already, right? Like when you think about the Vile Files when she was with Ryan, she said in there, now that I'm out, now he wants me and blah, 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 blah. So she kind of already kind of put it out there. So when you really think about it, it's kind of like, why would you play with her knowing she did that in the past?
Yep. Yeah. It's crazy.
So it does make you wonder because you're like, she literally aired you out before. And what I did think was interesting, and I think I said this before, is the same thing that she said about him holding on to her stuff is the same thing Steve Wood said.
Oh. Thank you, May.
Remember, he was like, "Oh, I want my stuff back that you're holding on to."
Yeah.
Gypsy said the same thing on the Vile Files. So that was kind of like on brand.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see them. He's getting fed up with her. This
Oh,
isn't
you
what
could
he
see.
expected, in my opinion. He expected something completely different.
Well, I think, to really be honest with you, I think Ken just wanted to have fun, when she came out. And I think the situation got serious fast because remember when she was on Natasha's live, she made sure she said she was on birth control. So I do believe that he truly thought she was on birth control. And it just so happened that
That's what happens when you trust her. Thank you.
when you trust someone that unalived their mom.
Right? That's what happens when you trust them, when you get knocked up when they're on birth control. But again, I didn't see you screwing him that whole weekend knowing you were married to Ryan still and jamming Plan B down your throat, because her ultimate goal the entire time was to get pregnant, to trap him.
Yep.
And it makes me wonder if that whole, it makes me wonder if she wasn't trying to get pregnant from Dan and not really Nick way back when.
I think so because I think, remember, her having a kid was a fetish for her.
Yeah.
Right? So it wasn't ever her really trying to really be a mom per se. It was part of her living out who Damona is.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you look at it from that aspect, you realize like it's a lot deeper than what we've seen.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it does.
So it's really interesting to kind of see how it's played out because it seems so crazy that she got away with this, but to see like the affiliation of like Dan Patterson and stuff like that, it just all makes sense now.
Yeah.
It's scary, but it makes sense.
Oh, you do follow me on YouTube? Thank you. So my question is this, and it's not just to you, but it's to everybody in our chats, okay?
Uh-huh.
Why does everybody think, why is Ryan not talking? Why is he not saying nothing?
I
How
think
can Ryan be so quiet with all of this nonsense going on that he hasn't, like,
she still
maybe
has him
NDA?
on. I don't. It's not an NDA. He's already
No.
said he doesn't have an NDA. I think that he still. The thing with Gypsy is she loves triangulation, and I think Ryan is someone that she knows would do anything for her,
Mhm.
and so people like her keep people like that around because they thrive off of using people and they thrive off of someone chasing them.
Right.
And the thing is that Ryan's probably the one that would take her back, no matter what, because he, in his mind, he wants things to go back to the way she was so sweet and nice to him when she was in prison.
Yeah.
So I think in his head, like that Gypsy will eventually come back if he keeps showing up. Does that make sense? Like, it's kind of like when you're in a narcissistic relationship with your like a boyfriend or something, and things start to get bad, but you are still thinking to yourself, I just need things to go back to the way he was before. So you're kind of like waiting for that person. And the thing with a narcissist is when they feel like they're getting ready to lose you, they will go back to that person. And as soon as you start to kind of like trust them again, they go back to who they really are. So that person that you're always looking for again, that was their not the real them. So it's like you have these expectations of this person that is like not real.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. I don't know.
And I think Ryan just really,
I could not have been that well behaved.
well, yeah, because we're normal people.
Yeah, I can't. I don't like the way not
I
normal
can't
people.
fake the funk. I'm just not that person that's gonna fake the funk. If I don't like you, I don't like you. If I don't want to be with you, you'll know because I'll just say it. Like I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't keep things or people around that I just know I don't want in my life. But she thrives off of using people, so she can act. I mean, think about it. She had played this whole character, Demona. She played like this is someone that's been acting their whole life.
Right, playing a role. Yeah.
And, like their whole life, her entire life. Thank you for the gifts, y'all. Her entire life, she's been acting. So this is not like a far stretch from what she's been like all this time because she's been acting this whole time anyway. So it's kind of like she's just still being this manipulative person that she's always been. I mean, think about it. She manipulated her mom. She manipulated Nick. She's manipulated
Doctors and friends.
doctors,
Yeah.
friends. Oh, also, I think it's also worth noting that some of these chairs and stuff and these nonprofits, you could see the affiliations with like Dan Patterson and the other people in there, which makes sense why the Children's Hospital hasn't came out to say anything. I'm just saying, my assumption. I don't know.
And also, let me just. You want to hear something crazy? You want me to connect Children's Hospital to Dan Patterson? Tell me how the oldest son of the director of surgery at Mercy Children's sits on the board with Jill Patterson, Dan Patterson's wife. How wild is that? I think that's crazy. Crazy that all of these people can all be connected. All of them.
which is why the Children's Hospital hasn't came out to say anything,
Yep.
because they're not going to blow the cover for Dan Patterson, allegedly.
It's not what you know and who you know, and they all know each other there, and they all got each other in their pockets, and money talks, and the rest of it walks, and it's wild. It's wild.
The whole thing is wild.
It's all about status, and I mean, these people do not sit on boards all day. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely wild.
Very wild. So when I saw that, I thought it was very interesting. I was like, wow.
I had to, at some point, we had to stop because I'm like, I can't keep connecting everybody to everybody. I mean, everybody knows everybody. It's wild that they're connected in some way, shape, or form.
Yep, very wild.
All about politics, butterfly.
But it makes so much sense because we've been saying for the longest, well, to each other, not necessarily to you all, like, why hasn't the Children's Hospital spoken out to say, like, we don't have any affiliations with this, like, we don't know anything about this, like, why haven't they said anything? And now it makes sense as to why we haven't heard them say anything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's wild.
The whole thing is just so bizarre to even see, like, how it's all panned out. Really.
Why do you guys like to talk about her? Just a question. So, Mia, we're not even talking about her. We're talking about the situation. There's a difference. They can't.
So why do you like to listen about her? Because aren't you here? That's interesting.
Huh?
I said, why do you like to listen about her? Because you're here.
Yeah, it's wild. Why do you like to? Yeah, why do you like to listen to us talk about her? I don't know. I just think that I feel like this whole thing, every single piece of this puzzle fell neatly in place for Gypsy, that it's just crazy how all of the stars aligned for her. I don't think she knows how freaking lucky she is.
She got really lucky.
She needs to, I don't even know, cut her shit, go away and fucking hide, because if I was literally let out when I was standing down, either being strapped to a chair or a life sentence,
especially knowing what you know. Yeah, especially knowing, because I wouldn't.
Yeah,
you would never hear from me if I got away with what she got away with. You wouldn't hear a word from me.
No, I would go and hide and hope that they don't realize they made a mistake.
Facts.
I wouldn't be out there prancing like a freaking diabolical thing out in front of everybody and having a show on light. Like, it's wild to me that she did not go into hiding, that she's prancing around. And she's got to be spiraling at this point, knowing that all of this information is getting there and people are hearing it now. I think a lot more people are starting to open their ears and their eyes, and they're starting to see it, and she's not liking it. She's scared.
And I will say this. You have to think, even though they let her get away with this, they would honestly screw her over if it came between her and them.
Yeah.
So if it came down to it and they had to, like, cover their own butts, they would blame her.
Absolutely.
They would get her for perjury. They would get her for all that stuff. Like, they would do her in.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. I don't know.
So if I was her, I would tread lightly, because not everything that glistens is gold.
Yeah.
Just me personally, I would tread lightly. I wouldn't be out here acting like this.
I just don't understand how anybody thinks that she deserves. I mean, Nick is literally living out her sentence.
Well, it's because of the way they portrayed her. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you really think about it, you look at it like, well, if they let her out or they gave her this plea deal, there had to be a reason for it. Because here's the thing, you do see people catch charges and go to prison for stuff that they maybe shouldn't have, or they were really innocent, but you don't really see people get plea deals that shouldn't get plea deals.
Right.
Right? So I think that in and of itself is probably one of the reasons why people do believe the story. Just because it's not typical to see someone get that type of grace that she has gotten.
Yeah. Thank you,
It's
man.
not the norm.
No, it's not. It's really not. But give me 2 seconds. I gotta run out here really quick. You take over for me. I'll be right back.
So when you really kind of look at this in the grand scheme of things, it makes sense because, I mean, she's gotten away literally with murder. When you really think about it, that's really what she got away with. So it's such a sad situation because it's taking forever for Nick to see anything, and we just got to kind of keep pushing because I do think eventually we'll see something come of it. And I think at the end of the day, there needs to be something in place to where you can't just take advantage of the disabled, because think about how bad it is. Like, think about that. Like, it's so bad. I mean, I think a lot of times people look at it and they don't see themselves or maybe their family members. But if you think about, like, if it was a son of yours that was autistic or a cousin of yours that was autistic and went through what he went through. And I saw a comment the other day and I tried to address it, but they flagged it. Someone said, oh, that's not true because my son's autistic and, he wouldn't do anything like that. But there's also a spectrum, and he also had a low IQ and he was collecting a permanent disability check. So it just doesn't make sense as to why anybody would think that she should get away with it.
It was Dreamer that said that?
Girl, somebody came in there. I was trying to block them, Pam block them before I even got a chance to hit block. When I went to go block that person, it already said they were blocked. I was like, oh, she hit the block button so fast.
Who said what?
Someone said, you're obsessed. Get over it.
I love when they say that we're obsessed.
You know it's Gypsy because it was 0 follows, 0 followings.
You want to be me? You're
Gypsy be making all those burners.
Murdering my mother was not on my list of shit to accomplish before I die. I'm just saying. Thank you so much.
It's a no for me. I don't want to do that.
I'm sorry that you needed some serious plastic surgery to even look half decent. Nah, that wasn't in my list of things to do.
Look half decent still, though.
No, well. I mean, she definitely looks better than she looked in the picture you had up there in the candy cane nightgown and the big old feet sitting there in the, the toothbrush wheelchair thing.
Can you imagine trying to just get housing so bad that you would really show up like that? That's wild.
Meanwhile, the shit that she was wearing that night. She was wearing that pink, red, nasty lingerie little thing. She was dressed up in her wig and her... Oh, come on. Come on, man. Come on. Just to know that bitch was going home. To put on that fucking little outfit, open up her fucking laptop, and wiggle the fucking boobies in somebody's fucking camera makes me irate.
And what I think one of the funniest things about the interrogation that gets me every time is the fact that she dead ass thought she was going home.
She believed without a doubt that she was absolutely going home.
Yeah,
or going to meet up with Dan, I believe.
Yeah.
Let me pick
She
up my
straight
money.
up said, am I going to be able to go back and get my
Her
my
medicine.
bag, my suitcase?
Oh,
Like,
that's right.
girl, you unalived your mom. You think you're going back to the house to get your suitcase?
Like she played, but I mean, she sat there and thought, I don't know, it's wild.
Like, she was for real when she said that. Like, no, Bookie, you going to the big house. Like, we not letting you out of here. Like, you think you back to go back to the house? You had your mom slayed. And not in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, are you for real? She legit said, can she get her suitcase? Where? You taking it to cell block D?
Like really trying to play that shit off like she had nothing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like she had nothing to do with nothing.
That's
Because
nuts.
remember though, her ultimate goal was to frame Nick and to go back with Dan. Now remember, she mentioned Dan's number and calling her friend in the interrogation. Dan said, like, apparently he found out later on that she was messaging him after Dee Dee was dead. Because
But
I think
he
that
didn't feel safe even. Listen,
oh, he knew it.
this
He
is
thought
how
I think he thought he was trying to be like trapped and framed for something. Like I think he thought that, yeah.
and I think her stuff probably got to stink because homeboy was like, "Oh no, I thought she wanted it, so I didn't
go.
want it." Like,
Yeah.
a dude will pick up a lady of the night that does all types of stuff.
Yeah.
You want to see you, Gypsy? Yeah, like, yeah, nah.
I think it's wild. But again, I think that's why there was only one bus ticket purchased. I think
That is definitely why that.
the whole time was for her to meet up with Nick. But you see, Nick admitted during his thing that he never answered her and he did not meet up with her. And that's not what she was expecting. She was expecting Dan, the love of her life, to take her away and to meet up with her, and he didn't. And so then she had to go back and she had to get another ticket, because why would you buy one ticket if you knew you were both going back? Well, there was only room for one, so you only bought one.
Yep.
You didn't just buy one the next day, buy two the next day. Like, make that make sense. Why would you still buy one if you knew you needed two? Because there was only one available. You would have just waited for the next day and bought two for the next day, right? That's what most of us would do. Now, this bitch planned an entire freaking murder, manipulated a man to do it for her. The entire thing is scamming, frauding the system. That woman was not so dumb that she didn't realize, well, I should just buy two for tomorrow if we need to. I'm just going to buy one today because that's all they have. Like, she ain't dumb. Come on now.
And what I think is
She
really
bought
funny.
one because one person was going back. She was going with Dan. Dan was supposed to meet her. She thought she could convince Dan to meet her, and he didn't.
And what I think is funny is that the way Bree was crashing out last night, trying to like justify it, like, girl, Nick had said straight up, she asked, could I go to the Bang Bang house with Dan before we leave? So it's like, how could you say that she's not, like, she was still worried about smashing the other dude.
Yeah. Dan was who she wanted the entire time. Nick was just a pawn to get her to Dan.
Mm-hmm.
To ultimately get her to be with Dan and just Dan.
And the funny thing is, he didn't want her to begin with. Imagine risking it all for somebody.
He wanted her to bring it up and let it go down. He wanted her just for the process. That's it. That's all. It was an easy lay. She was a loose woman. It was easy. Let's go. Ride it for a few minutes and get out of here. Is all he wanted.
Yep.
He just wanted her to take it for a spin, and that's all. Because that's what he's good for. Let's be real. She knows it. Just saying. Maybe he wanted her to take the dentures out. Give it a little... because that's 1 in a million. You're not going to find very many women that are willing to take out their dentures for your penis. I'm just saying. So maybe that's the only reason he even went there to begin with. He was like, oh, dentures? Yeah, I'll give you a turn. Come take a turn. Little too loud?
I am mortified. I'm
Yeah.
mortified.
He wanted her to go gummy on him.
Oh, chill.
I mean, tell me I'm lying. You all know I'm not lying. Like Jimmy, gummy Jimmy. Gypsy Gum Gum. He wanted some gum time. Yeah. And then when mommy started showing up, being like, get home, you little slore. You know what I mean? He was like, oh shit, I ain't fucking with that anymore. And that's why he never answered her.
Homeboy said, her mama be getting all in our business. Wrong with it.
My daughter's a child. She's a slore. You don't want her. You'll catch her. What was she taking? What did she have at the house? Valtrex? What was it?
Girl. And what they said, the girls at the prison said she didn't really have good hygiene. So
Does she look like she had good hygiene?
she still don't look like she got good hygiene. Look at her.
Was taking baths with food and then doing all that to herself, riding a toothbrush for a whole 12 minutes, and then couldn't turn the water on to take a shower because wouldn't Dee Dee wake up? So then you just hopped on into bed with your mother with the juices all over you like the slore that you are. I'm just saying.
Not from the toothbrush.
The juices, all of that. Listen, Moo. Dude, for real. Tail is all on my... Look at that. But that's it, seriously. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, she couldn't shower. Her mother would hear her. Remember, the mother was a light sleeper. So she was able to rock that toothbrush, jumped into bed next to her mommy. Night, mommy. What did she call her? They called each other something. What did they call each other? What were their pet names for each other?
I don't even remember.
Juicy Rose. No, they called each other like Honey and Baby or something. Honey and Baby. Like Baby just hopped on into bed with Honey and said, well, I'll just leave my juices here. Like, yeah, I'm sure their hygiene was sucked.
And didn't she bake brownies after she unalived her mom?
No, she didn't bake them in the house. They bought them from the pizza place where they ordered the food from. They didn't bake them at the house. I don't know if they, yeah. There was no brownie mix or like pans or anything.
Diabolic.
Yeah, they ordered it from Domino. Was it Domino's? Yeah, Domino's. Yeah, she can't bake. She couldn't make eggs.
I thought we saw some mixes or stuff. Okay.
No, she ordered it. It came with the receipt. We saw the receipt to the Domino's or wherever it was. To the motel.
Someone said, how do you unalive someone and then... That's a question for Gypsy because none of us know nothing about that.
How do you unalive and what? You froze.
Someone said, how do you unalive somebody and then order food? I said, that's a question for Gypsy because only Gypsy could answer that because listen.
And have sex. How do you have sex in the next room from your dead mother? Like, that's wild. Like, first of all, forget feeling all kinds of frisky. My ass would be like, oh my God, I'm going to jail. Oh my God, I'm going to jail. Like, I'm going to get caught. I'm going to get caught. My ass would be, what? Like, if I just killed somebody, forget my mother.
And I would have called the police on
I'd be
my
like, I'd be in pure panic mode. Like, I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. They're going to find me. I'd be scrubbing the hell. I would have lit the bitch on fire. You're not, I didn't do it. I would have sat there, burnt myself and laid in the yard like, because I'm not going down for this. I'm not sitting in prison. I would have lit the bitch on fire.
Nah, but she legit did not think she was going to prison. And that's why she
did everything to aim it all at Nick. Look at it. I mean, she had Nick literally be the one to go and mail the knife back. How smart is she?
No.
You think for one
Yes.
second that Nicholas Godejohn thought of that one himself? No, he didn't.
Yeah, nah, he didn't know nothing about that.
Be on the phone with her to have directions to even get on a bus and get to her house. And you mean to tell me he thought of that? No, he didn't think of that. She did, but she made sure it was in his name. So the receipt was in his name, going to his house with his name on it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
He had
she,
zero clue. That's exactly. Zebra Girl was like, "Thank you for the gifts." He had zero clue. Yeah, he had no clue.
no.
None.
Part of me, I don't know. He didn't see that one coming. He didn't see that one coming. My whole thing was if she handed him the knife and the gloves when he got to the house. I don't think there's anything that can be more incriminating than that right there. Not the video,
That
nothing.
that right there. If she would have went to trial,
He,
that right there, it was a slam dunk because that was like that. That's everything.
yeah.
Like just that part right there. Anything after that is BS. How does Gypsy sleep at night? So you know the thing about it, and I think we were talking about this the other day, is that people like her lack empathy and sympathy, so they don't have that emotion. So to her, which is why she tries to play all these different characters because she doesn't have that. And so she mimics other people so that she can basically acquire it.
Yeah. But what emotions does she have? I don't know that she has any emotion. I really don't think she has any. I mean, she shows signs of jealousy. So, I mean, I guess she has some, but I don't know.
But what's so funny is she's so worried about what the public thinks of her.
She's always been worried about what people thought about her.
Like the fact that that was the topic of discussion on her last show, it made me laugh because I was like, I mean, remember that time I was on your live and y'all were talking about how they were talking about me on that other live and I fell asleep? Like, I
Yeah.
don't care. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, it don't matter to me. Like, that's
Mhm.
fine. And I think it's just so funny for you to put yourself in the public eye and to really be concerned about what the public thinks of you.
Yeah.
Furthermore, you unalived your mom. So I think, I mean, how much worse could someone think of you?
If the first adjective or noun that you can use to describe yourself is murderer,
Yeah.
you should.
And you literally say, I don't want to identify as that.
Yeah. I can't.
Like, girl, you're known for that. And you're saying, I don't want to be identified by that. Like, girl, nobody would know you if you didn't do that.
That right there should have went against
Harley.
her parole because, first of all, your whole plea deal was you had your plea deal because you had to admit that you were guilty of second-degree murder. And
But
then
it makes
in your
sense.
parole, don't you usually have to show that you understand what you did, admit what you did, you take responsibility, accountability, and you won't do it again, right? So how is that not a violation of any of that? Because technically it was. And tell me how her parole meeting went. How do they sit there in that interview and all of them talking about how, well, we didn't talk about the crime or anything like that's just wild to me. You literally talked about her abuse.
Well,
Her abuse had nothing to do with the crime. She didn't have a trial. There was no abuse brought up. So how can the abuse that you supposedly endured be the topic of your parole hearing to see if you can get through?
But you got to think, this was all planned out probably by Dan Patterson way before she even, you know what I'm saying? Like, so she probably knew.
I mean, that can't be the way the parole board decides on whether or not you should be paroled. Is talking about your history that had nothing to do with the crime in which you committed.
Because I think she said they asked if she thought she was a celebrity and she said no. But remember, she had people making social media pages and stuff like that ahead of time. So her intention was to come out, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. At 8 years for having your mom unalived is just wild.
They're white collar crimes. People play with money. They extort money and they go to jail for a lot longer than that. And this one took someone to the ultimate, the worst thing you could do to somebody is take their life. I mean, there's no coming back from that one. So how do you take the worst thing you could do to another human being, do it, and then you got 8 years or 10 years?
And not even just take it, like she brutally took it.
Yeah. And she didn't just take his
It's
money.
premeditated. Like that's it just I don't know, it's so weird.
And how do you take away the premeditation part of it? That's crazy to me.
Them folks said it's all good, don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, just, sweep, 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 right under the rug.
Yeah, they was like, don't worry about it.
Again, he couldn't, I mean, think about it. He needed this organization to go through. He needed his political backings. He needed his money and donations. And if she went to trial and all of this fraud came out and they continued investigating all of these people that donated to him and all of these organizations that were helping him get his would have been under investigation. They wouldn't have gotten their donations. It would have looked really bad. That all of these people are now being investigated as your organization's coming up. I think that's wild.
But all right, y'all, I have to get off of here. I got so much to do tonight. So I will see you guys later. Thank you guys for joining.
You're welcome. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Ivory.
No problem. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, y'all.